Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm going on my 9th year now, and 6 years now with Arkansas Self Storage.
Excellent. It's so that's um, excellent. So we've been around this game for quite some time. So the advantages that we've brought over the years in accelerating depreciation on self-storage facilities is now even more important than ever. If we can pull money out of the walls of your property, put it back in your hands, that's going to get you through these tough times. Cash is king. So that's what we do, is we accelerate depreciation on commercial buildings, do the studies to be able to get that money to hold the hands of your tax professional. And you know, that's why we're here today. So we're going to, and I don't think we're going to be taking questions, are we, Shelley? Or do they have the ability to?
We can take questions. We haven't been getting a ton over the Q&A in the chat today, but I think you and Dawn are gonna go back and forth, I think was my understanding.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, y'all can get started whenever you would like.
Okay.
Don? So Don, what are you seeing? What are people asking about the CARES Act?
Well, the most important questions are, I'll throw them at you and then you can answer them for the group today. The first one is, how can self-storage owners benefit from the newest $2.2 trillion CARES Act legislation that isn't tied to the payroll loans we hear so much about?
Yeah, the payroll loans didn't do a great deal for the self-storage because there's not a lot of employees. And so that's come and gone. So what's left? You know, what is it that you can get from the CARES Act? And there's two areas that are huge. I had one senator calculate that these two aspects of the CARES Act were worth about $170 billion to the real estate community. They weren't very happy that they had given away $170 billion to the real estate community. That was more than they had given to hospitals. So it involves a net operating loss, and it also involves qualified improvement property. So let me explain what those are. One of the things that the Act changes is they fixed a glitch in the tax code to now allow qualified improvement property to be 100% bonus depreciation. Okay, I use a lot of tax terms there. In essence, if you do work renovations on the inside of your building, more than likely you can write that off 100%. You can take all of that as a tax deduction in the first year. I'll give you a good example. I did a study for a young man, Shelley, in Missouri. You would know him. His name doesn't come to mind right now, but he bought a facility in 2018 and 2019. It was an auto dealership. He cleaned it out. He cleaned it out and put it in self-storage. Everything that he put into the interior of that building, he was able to write off. It was over a $300,000 write-off. It was huge. So again, qualified improvement property. So all the renovations that you're doing on the inside, changing doors on the inside, moving walls around, again, cleaning out a facility and putting storage in that, all of that is going to be able to be written off in the first year. People say, well, that's great, David, but that's going to create so many deductions. You know, I can't use those. I've only been in business a couple of years. You know, I'm growing, I'm making a little bit of money, but you're going to create all these huge deductions in this facility and I can't use them. I'm not making money there, but I'm making money everywhere else. Congress has your back. They created, yeah, they created the net operating loss aspects of the CARES Act. So they said, if you're losing money, the old rules were you couldn't apply it to past years. You had to carry that forward. And you could only carry forward 80% of it. They were kind of restrictive. The new rules are you can either carry that loss forward for next year, so you can use some of those losses for next year, or you can carry it back over the previous 5 years. Okay, what am I talking about? So if you have a net operating loss, you lost money in 2019, 2018, or 2020, you're able to say, hey, I have a loss, but I paid taxes over the last 5 years. They said, okay, take your loss and put that against the gains of the last 5 years, and we'll see what you paid in taxes, and we'll send you a refund. Wow, I can't tell you how much this has helped people in the real estate market. Our business has skyrocketed because people that have losses are looking back. What if you're saying, David, I don't have any losses. I'm making money, not making a lot, but I don't have any losses. My question to you is, have you done a cost segregation study? Have you applied accelerated depreciation? If you haven't, now's the time to change, because what we can do is do a cost segregation study, identify all the parts and pieces that qualify for accelerated depreciation, create a bunch of deductions. Oh, look, now you have a loss. And now we can take those losses and apply it against payments that you made over the last 5 years, or apply it in, Ann, are you putting a hex on me? I was wondering. It's, or you can apply that to other businesses. You might have taxes that you paid in other years. So those, for some of you guys out there, it's huge. It's really, really a lot of cash flow. And Don, you've been doing this a long time. Have you ever seen the benefits of cost segregation be so large for building owners?
This is a whole new world now. These last couple of legislative changes have just added to the enhancement to cost segregation studies and the tax savings for all the owners of businesses throughout America.
Really have. So Congress did a great job in writing these regulations and giving these benefits to commercial building owners. These are not tax loopholes. This is tax reform. What's a tax loophole? A tax loophole is when another guy benefits from a change in the tax code. It's tax reform when it's benefit to you. So it's this is definitely that was Senator Russell Long, Louisiana senator. So it's definitely a benefit to the self-storage industry, especially if you're looking to buy a facility. Okay, you're gonna buy a facility, and you know, you might buy the old Kmart or building, and you're going to put all new renovations on the inside. Again, everything that you're spending on the inside of that, doing renovations, remodels, you can probably write off, take 100% deduction. Again, if you're not making money and you can't utilize all the deductions, you can look back and or carry those forward. Don, it's is there a question typically that you get, passive versus active?
Yeah. You know, what about those people that that may make money in the primary business, but self-storage is an investment?
Okay. So a lot of people here on the call are this is your you know, retirement money. This is your passive investor in a self-storage facility. You'll be able to utilize those losses against passive income that you have. So if you have other rental properties somewhere else, you can take some of those losses and apply it to those. But typically, you might be restrained to in this existing business to take that income down to zero. And then if there's other passive income that you have, you can apply it to that. An active person, active taxpayer, this is active income. You own the business, you're running the business. You know, you can, you're not restricted. You can take those NOLs, carry them back, carry them forward, whatever that might be. Again, the Congress is trying to put more money into your pocket so that you can stay in business, that you can reinvest that, you can upgrade the facility, whatever that might be. You know, you're able to do that. So you know, some of the deductions that you do on the outside as well are also deductible with a cost segregation study. So, Shirley, how are we doing on time?
Few minutes.
Few minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Don, any more questions, or people are going to want to ask, you know, what do I do now?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'd like to do now is, since we only have a few minutes left, I'd like to let everyone know that's on the call here and on the video that that we will send any and all of you a free predictive analysis report of the tax savings you can write off on your 2020 tax return using all these new major enhancements from the latest Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and now the CARES Act. So all we need from you is 4 things. The name of your facility, number 1, Number 2, the cost of your facility. And if your facility is over a year old, then we can really use your tax depreciation schedules from your CPA. And the date that you put the buildings in service, whether you constructed them or whether you purchased them. And then the cost of any additions and renovations that David was talking about since you've owned the building. We'll run that through our modeling software and have the estimated tax savings back to you in like 3 to 5 business days, so you can share it with your CPA. And simply email that info to me. The email address is donlittle@cssi-associate.com. That's CSSI, Cost Segregation Services Incorporated, -associate.com, or call me at 972-333-5059. Now, we've done cost segregation studies for a lot of the folks at the Arkansas Self-Storage Association, and the dollar for dollar write-offs are significant. The money we're talking about is substantial money. And big thanks to David Desautel and to Shelley and to all the members of the board of directors of Arkansas Self-Storage for all the support over the years. And we thank you for your time, Shelley.
Dawn, if you don't mind me, or Shelley, if you don't mind me injecting something,
Sure.
Shelley, would it be possible for you to take all the participants and send them the list of needs that Dawn said and that contact information to see if they wanted to do that in case someone missed it?
That's
Yeah,
fabulous.
absolutely. David or Dawn, if you guys want to post that over in the chat in the very bottom, it'll show up on our attendees screens. It should be down there right at the bottom. I just listed Dawn's email address, so you can do it right under that. You just click the 2 and it says all panelists and attendees, and you can list those 4 right there. Or Dawn, excuse me, if you want to email me those, I can get those out in an email blast to all of our attendees this afternoon.
Awesome.
Oh, cool. That'll
And
help
thank
us.
all of y'all for everybody for participating today, but I just couldn't resist trying to make that as simple as possible for everybody. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Charles. I appreciate that. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. And
Good to
Ann,
see
I want to know
y'all
where
as
to get a
well.
hat like that.
Oh my goodness. I think this one was Macy's, maybe.
Okay.
It's a good one. They're all good. I haven't seen one that I don't like. They're all amazing.
Hello to you, Ann Ballard, our little hat lady. Nice to see you.
Hey, Don. Hey,
We don't
David.
see each other much at conventions anymore, so
That's
it's
right.
nice to see your
That's
face. All right. David, I appreciate you, buddy. Shelley, thanks so much.
Dawn, thanks so much. Good seeing you.
Dan, yeah, thanks, Dawn. David, it's good to see you.
All
Take care.
righty.
Bye.
You bet.
All right, I'm gonna start with a good, hopefully a good introduction. It's kind of hard to introduce Miss Ann Ballard, but I'm gonna give it a shot. We know her very well. She has been a friend of our association for, I don't know, does anyone know how many years? I was hoping Charles might stay on and
You'd
fill
have to
that.
ask-
Yeah, I should ask Bill. Many. I know. I mean, I've been around about 6 years, so I know she's been really involved with us since then, and I can imagine that it was probably, I don't know, 10 years before that. So Miss Ann comes to us from the Universal Management Company. She is founder and president there. She has been a president and board member of the Georgia Self-Storage Association for many years. She has written a book. She has spoken everywhere where self-storage exists, I think. She has helped with, I'm assuming, the lien laws in Georgia or the self-storage statutes for there. She is known to have many facilities of the year throughout her state and across the nation. She's also worked with the SSA. The list goes on and on and on. Like I said, she does not need much of an introduction, but we are so glad to have you. Thank you so much. And I will go ahead and let you get started.
Thank you, Shelley, very much. And I love your infomercials. They're very valuable to members, and they can put a lot of money in their pockets. So they should to follow up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Thank you.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure to be with all of you from my house here in Atlanta and your home out there in Arkansas. And I was telling Shelly and Stevie that I want to see those red coats. So too bad I can't see them all live and be able to say hello to each and every one of you. So
hopefully very soon we'll have those. We'll have
right.
everyone back together.
Well, I've tried to bring something for you today that I hope will have a little bit of an impact to all of you, whether you're the manager at the store or if you're the owner operator or if you are working for a third-party management company such as ours, or maybe even thinking about getting into our business. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we'll take a look at the presentation today, and let's make sure that everybody is seeing that. And let's go back to the beginning.
Yes,
so everybody got
good.
that? Okay, great.
Good.
So let me move my camera view up to the top so we can see the whole screen. So my topic for you today was great operators all do these 5 things, and you can too. So you don't have to be a top operator, and I'm very honored that Universal was chosen as the best third-party management company last year or this year for ISS, and we're number 10 in the nation of management companies. But whether you're one person by yourself or like Dan and Martha Lusk out there managing those beautiful facilities, or you know, have 10 of them, just something that we think we want to put in the hands of each and every person that works in our industry day to day. So the first one is to, and it's kind of cutting it off at the top, but to succeed in selling yourself and your facility. So a lot of us are naturally born with the gift of gab, as they call it here in the South, and could just talk to anybody and it's not a problem. But maybe you're not like that and you need a plan. Well, whether you're born with that gift of gab or you're an introvert, everybody needs a plan in order to have success. So winging it is gone. That's what we did in the early days 30 years ago when I started in the business. Now we all use a program, whether it's built into your software, as we've worked with SiteLink to get a lot of our process put into the software, or you're using what we use today, which is a phone and walk-in script. We want a plan so that however the traffic comes into us, whether it walks in our door physically, it walks in through a phone call, or it walks into our website, we want the customer to know that we are there ready to serve and we've got a plan. So we call them the 5 magic questions, and I'm going to go over those with you in just a minute. But the great thing about professional storage counselors is we know all the questions they're going to ask, and we know all the answers to the questions. So we should have great confidence when we deal with customers calling us or coming into our stores. And we certainly want to remember to be conversational, not just reading off a piece of paper. You want to ask questions of your new or hopefully new customers and your existing customers as if they're someone with whom you're acquainted. I treat everybody as if they're a friend until they prove otherwise, and it's worked well for me. So be conversational, be yourself. I can't sound like Shelly or Stevie, and I can't be Cindy, you know, and they're all great, fabulous women, and they can't be me. So it's got to be you yourself, putting your personality into the conversation. Also wanting to assume that if someone has walked into your website, walked into your office, or called into your store, they're already interested in being your customer. So you should assume that of course they're going to be your customer. And of course you're going to get them out there and get them moved into the perfect unit that helps them solve problems, and you're going to provide solutions to them. So don't be hesitant when it comes to assuming the sale. One of the tricks I learned many years ago when I started my career in direct sales was to talk past the sale. When I try to explain this to others on, like some of the fellows on our leadership team, What on earth does that mean, talking past the sale? It means that when I'm on the phone with you, for example, I say things like, well, when you get here and I show you that 10 by 30, you're going to love how it's got doors on both ends. That's talking past the sale. In other words, you're assuming, as we talked about previously, that they're going to become your customer, and you're talking past the sale, telling them when they see it, they're just going to love that special feature, and love being your customer most of all. This is talking about your succeeding in selling on site. So in the old days when I started, and many of you may have started at the same time I did, back at the end of the 80s, we just sat at our desk. People came in, we wrote them up. They were our customers. You know, it was a build it, they will come sort of thing. Well, those days are long gone. There is a lot of competition in your markets and mine, and we really want to be different than we used to be. We want to show that we're focused on that customer and their experience. So I greet them at the front door. You know, I say, well, hi, I'm Ann Ballard. I'll be your professional storage counselor today. How can I improve your life today? When is the last time somebody asked you, how could they help your life get better? You know, certainly not in the retail environment of today's world. Well, since most of us are in shutdown and a lot of retailers have closed, they need to be focusing on things just like this. How can they improve our lives? If some piece of traffic comes into you, they're already interested. So find out what it's going to take to make their life better with your products and services. And then we, of course, want to make sure that you lead the conversation because you are the professional. When I say, hi, I'm Ann Ballard, I'll be your professional storage counselor today. Come on in here. You know, how can we improve your life today? And by the way, it's 110 outside. Let me get you a cold water bottle, or would you actually like a coffee? And let's sit down and find out how we can make things better for you. I take charge in sort of a natural way, but you can't be pushy. You know, you can't be too on the edge forceful. It's got to be conversational, but don't wait for the customer to pull your job out of you. It's your job to take control because they're in your business. You know, it's like being greeted in the old days when you went into, for example, one of those high-end department stores and people were fawning over you at the front door and how can we help you? And would you like to sit here? Can we show you something? Think of excellent service when it comes to leading the conversation, because remember, you know all the questions and you know all the answers. Now, when you go to your doctor's office, for example, and the nurse comes in and they take your blood pressure and your temperature and they're making notes on the charts and doing all those things, then you sit there for a while and then the doctor comes in. Now, if the doctor came in and didn't ask you a single question, wrote you a couple of prescriptions and walked out of the room, what would your reaction be? I imagine it'd be like mine. You'd think, what a quack. They didn't ask me any questions. They don't know about me and my situation. So we want to be very much the professional storage counselor. When we ask a customer a question, we want them watching us being active and taking notes. You can see in this picture where we actually have 3 color-coded clipboards at our properties, even though everything else we do is paperless. But there are some things when we actually need a process. The phone and walk-in script, so we're making notes on each customer when we're away from the computer. A vendor log to record anyone coming to our site to do any work at all, has to log in with the manager, time in and time out, and making sure we have their certificate of insurance on file. And then the walkthrough, because you can do a walkthrough electronically only, but we like our managers to make notes about service needs or maintenance needs or things that they find out of whack, so to speak, by that closest unit. So we use that. They save those walkthroughs for their supervisors, and we do twice a week on that. So we do still keep a few paper processes, and these 3 are very near and dear to our hearts. When you've got that clipboard in your hand and you're right there with your phone program, the first thing you want to do is, of course, answer with your name and the store name and thank them for calling you. And usually they ask you, how much is your 10 by 10? Or how much is your storage? Or some question like that is very common. But if you just quote a price back to them, if they say, well, how much is your 10 by 10? And your response is, that's $380. They may just hang the phone up and you don't get a chance to even develop that phone call. Before we can quote you a price, we need to know a couple of things, just like the doctor needs to know a couple of things before they write you a prescription. Because if we listed all the sizes that all of you collectively represent, it would probably be in the hundreds. And some have special features that we're going to talk about in a minute. So when they ask me, for example, you know, how much is your storage or how much is your 10 by 10, then I'm going to say, well, you know what? While I look that up for you, have you ever rented storage before? If they say no, how do they know they need a 10 by 10? They might need a 10 by 20. So then I'm going to say, well, tell you what, you tell me a little bit about what you're going to be storing, because I've got to make sure that the user is qualified to use storage. In other words, they're not going to store old tires, batteries, of course, dead animals. We've had all kinds of stuff, vegetables and fruits. We've had that, you know, that they're not doing anything untoward or illegal. So I want to be conversational, but say, you know, tell me a little bit about what you're going to be storing. Typically, they're going to say maybe a 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom house. And I'm going to say, well, you know, does that include any appliances or do you have anything oversized? And they go, well, yeah, we've got that granny's armoire or whatever. And I'll make a note of that. And by the way, when did you need to get moved in? You know, I want to know that I can help create a little urgency for them to come see me immediately by asking this question. If they say, I need to get moved in, well, here we are in August. And if they say, well, I need to be moved in by the end of September, never reply to them, oh, well, we've got plenty, just call back then. I've actually heard a manager say that. I about fainted. You've already spent the money and the website presence and the drive-by presence and the referral presence to get people to call you or come in. So create urgency when they say, even if it's tomorrow or 2 months from now, oh, I'm so glad you called me today. That gives us plenty of time to make this the easiest move of your life. If they say I need to be in by Sunday, then of course, you know, the urgency is obvious. And in number 4, I love this question. It really helps me limit discounting, which is very rampant on all websites today. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But when I ask the customer, you know, how long do you think you're going to need storage? They always say 1 or 2 months. And as we all know, they all stay with us 10 years, and we love that. But you do have customers who think, oh, this is just an instant sort of thing. Remember, storage customers use self-storage to put off emotional decision-making. Their aunt just passed away, or there was a fire or a job transfer, a divorce, or got a new job or lost a job, or in this crazy world we're in right now, it could very often be their business closed due to the pandemic and they're now out of work. So they have no idea what the real answer is. The only reason we ask this question is to make a note so that when we're closing the sale after we've shown them their unit, if they say, well, you know, I can go over there to that Spaces place for Dan Lusk and get the same unit for $20 less, then I could come back to them and say, well, tell you what, if I could match their special for the 2 months you think you'll need it, and then if you stayed longer, it would go to the regular price, would you move in with me today? Well, they're in your store. 100% of the time, you're going to get the sale. And now you've limited the discount to the 2 months they thought they'd need it, not some giant open-ended discount like we're seeing start to become very prevalent in the marketplace today. And then when they're on site and I'm showing them, I ask question number 5. By the way, you know, now we've picked out your unit and everything, and you're going to be in that 10 by 30. Tell me about how much you estimate your stuff is worth. You can call them valuables. You can call them whatever vernacular is common to your speech. We say stuff, but how much is your stuff is worth? And then when they say, oh, it's worth $10,000, Then when I sit down and write them up and hand them the tablet to sign the paperless lease, I've automatically signed them up for $10,000 worth of customer storage insurance. I don't have to discuss it or anything because I had them declare the value while I was out there showing them. Other things you want to make sure you also say in your phone presentation, especially before they come, is now don't pack until you come see me. I have the best box showroom around. And I can teach you a lot of professional tips and tricks to save space in your truck and in your storage unit by utilizing the same size box, and counsel you on what are the right boxes to buy. Besides, we have a wonderful box buyback program and bundle pricing. So you never have to worry about buying too many things. We'll always buy them back at the price we sold them to you if they're clean and unused. Now, before we move off of the 5 magic questions, this one is like one of the pet peeves, I guess you might say, or things that I hear a lot. You never, as a professional storage counselor, would ask a customer, what size do you need? Because women, we're likely to be the most guilty of this. You know, they might think your office, your giant, huge, beautiful office is a 10 by 20. You know, a lot of times they have no concept of size. So that's a question we never ask. We ask the 5 magic questions and some others to qualify them and get to the right size, but we would never ask the customer, what size do you need? Here's another snapshot of our phone and walk-in script and places to put check marks after we've asked that question. And it's important to remember, do answer on the 2nd or 3rd ring. You know, thank them and say your store name and your name, and then take control of the conversation. And as soon as we can get the answers to the 4 questions, at least, we want to say, well, you know, it sounds to me like you're going to need probably a 10 by 20. We might could get you into a 10 by 15. We'll know when you come over and take a look. That size is only whatever the amount is. Don't say the word dollars. Just say, you know, sounds to me like you're going to need that 10 by 20. Mike could get you into our 10 by 15. Our 10 by 15 is only $287, and it does include these benefits that are going to really be important to you as a customer. Things are done on a month-to-month basis, so you don't have a long-term contract. We're super incredibly neat and clean, especially now during COVID. We're all wearing masks and have them in the office if you don't have one when you get here. Plenty of hand sanitizer and social distancing, so you're going to be very comfortable working with us. And then you go into the benefit statements and making notes as you ask those questions. Now, a lot of times when I'm training, and I know Cindy, this happens to her too, but managers ask me, well, why do they always ask about price first? Well, think about it. A lot of self-storage customers, we find our data can be anywhere from 27 to 50% have never used storage before. So if you don't know a lot about something, this is America, you can always just ask the price. Well, how much is it? So we like to not think that everybody is that price sensitive, because in our research, when they tell us why they moved in, price was only somewhere between 11 and 14%. And our location, convenience, and management and features were overwhelmingly the reason they moved in. So it's really not about price, but it's the one thing they can always ask about any product to get going. So don't be overly price sensitive. We want to make sure when we're talking to our customers that we are selling them the benefits of our properties, not the features. I've listed a couple of features here in one of our final phone programs, and I can send this to all of y'all if they would like for me to. Shelly, let me know. Like a feature is you're open 7 days a week with 16 hours of access every day. Well, the benefit of that feature is that we're here when you need us. You know, that's what, almost 100 and something hours a week. We're locally owned and operated. So for over 30 years, the benefit is we've taken pride in the community and we're here to serve. And so make sure you're selling what the feature does for the customer, not the feature itself. So if you just spit out, well, we are fenced and we have access control gates and we're open 7 days a week and you know, there's always somebody here in the office, you know, and you pay your rent online. Those are just features, but people won't buy just that. They want to know, what does the feature do for them? So the magic sentence for us in our phone program is, while I look that up for you, you start asking your magic questions. So we found that teaching managers to say, while I look that up for you, gives them the ability to get control of the conversation, ask a few of the questions, and get into the presentation part of it. Now, here's a list of do's and don'ts. We don't ever want to say 24-hour surveillance, because no one is sitting at your property 24 hours a day surveilling. You can say motion sensing cameras or plenty of digital surveillance cameras, but you can't say 24-hour surveillance. You also don't want to say the words safe, secure, or security, unless of course it's in the name of your store, because there is no place on earth that is 100% safe, 100% secure, or has the best or perfect security. So we try to paint a picture of peace of mind using other words, other adjectives and adverbs to describe our place. Don't be guilty of just quoting a price. You know, just quoting a price is not doing any presentation or selling at all. And that's not the way professional storage counselors do it. And most importantly, don't sell on price alone. If you're selling on price alone, you're the discounter and you're trying to be the cheapest one in town. And that means you're leaving a lot of money on the table and hurting the performance and profitability of your operation. So never be ashamed of price. We like to remember that price is a relative experience. Some folks in the world, and I've actually seen some in my travels, think nothing of paying, like the ladies in England, they would think nothing of paying maybe $500 to $1,000 for a beautiful hat. Well, I'm sorry, but that's just not in my budget. It's not something I could imagine. You see people from Hollywood all the time who would spend hundreds to thousands on a pair of shoes if shoes are your passion. I again would not go along with that. So remember, price is relative to each person. So Shelley, what's the smallest town in all of Arkansas? Something that's really tiny community. Oh, maybe Shelley's not with us right now, but if someone from one of the tiniest towns in Arkansas came to Little Rock and you're quoting $150 to $200 for your 10 by 10, what do you think it would be, Shelley?
Oh, wow. A tiny town?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know. I don't know. We'd have to pull in somebody else for that one. I'm not sure.
Well, let's say, let's say somebody from out in the country, so to speak, came into your store in Little Rock and your normal 10 by 10 price is $150 and up. And you told that to them where maybe where they're from, 10 by 10 drive-up unit might be $50. Their might be $150 a month. You know, in other words, price is a relative thing. So when you say how much it costs, you just say that one is only $150. Don't say the word dollars and just keep moving. Like it's no big deal. I know that people that come from Hawaii to rent storage in the East Coast here where I live are shocked by how cheap our prices are. The same with folks who come from California to the East Coast. So never be ashamed of price. And you really want to be proud to be the market price leader, because the market price leader always has the best occupancy and the most loyal customers. Do sell what makes you and your store special. And again, I'm going to talk about that and how important it is in just a minute. Do lead the conversation, use those 5 magic questions. Do have a little fun. You know, be the hero to your customer by being prepared to take the call or to show your store very proudly. And when it comes to telephone time, the best phone call is 2.5 to 3 minutes in length, and focus on getting them to the store. Don't give them so much information you're on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes. Now there's no urgency for the visit. They probably now know your grandmother's name and your dog's name. So 2.5 to 3 minutes, focus on getting them out to the store. And do talk past the sale using that assumptive sale. Once they say yes, shut up. I happen to know 2 great managers that work for us that they love to talk more than me. So we have to remind them of this. Once they've sold the product, be quiet. Go on to the next thing and get your paperwork done. The second thing I thought that I could bring to everyone today that all of us as top operators do is to focus on your unique selling position. So whether your store was built in 1985 or 2015 or, yesterday, old or new, every store has something that makes them special, different, and unique. And it means we absolutely have to get out there and know our competition and the differences and the distinctions in our store. So I brought you a few of these unique selling position examples from our past. I love the M&M ones, melts in your mouth, not in your hand, because all other chocolate candy would melt in your hands. In the old days, Domino's had pizza delivered in 30 minutes or it was free. And that gave them a unique selling position. Hyundai had finance or lease your new Hyundai, and in the next year you lose your income, you just bring the car back and no problems. And then down at the bottom, Geico, online quote comparison could save you hundreds of dollars. And they're still sort of using that, say 15% with Geico ad. So you've got to have something that makes you unique, special, and different. Maybe you're not the newest. Maybe you don't have as many cameras or other things as other people do. But maybe, like a fella I know in Ohio, he has the shiniest hallway floors in the business. I'm not kidding, they're gorgeous. So maybe you have, like Dan and Martha, a drive-through building where everybody's out of the weather to get loaded and unloaded. So you can't just guess. You have to know what your unique position is. And that means, as I've got down here at the bottom of this slide, you've got to get out there and see these differences for yourself. For example, maybe you have the widest driveway and aisles in town. So all the trucks can make the turns. People who rent 24-foot U-Haul trucks can make the turns. The big vans can get in there, and the semis with the movers or deliveries for your customers. That's really important. That's a big important feature to commercial customers. Maybe you're the one that is open as this first one, hours and days of the week. Maybe you are the one in town that is open on full day on Saturday and maybe even part of Sunday. We find in our research that being open until 6 o'clock is incredibly important to our customers. We have a peak of activity, of course, first thing in the morning, right during the lunch hour, and then right at the end of the day. So our standard hours are 9 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and then if open on Sunday, based on whether they're a truck rental store or not, either morning or afternoon. Do you have a great referral program and your competitors don't? Are you doing online rentals and payments and paperless leasing right now like the rest of us are? Or, and is that special to you compared to your competition? Of course, the coffee bar and cold water service can be very important. Some of our stores even have warming drawers where we serve warm cookies every day. And we have customers who are addicted to them. Can your customers make online payments? Now, I would have thought everyone in our industry was making online payments on their website now. And just this very week, I looked at 3 websites where the customers could not make online payments. So if you have that feature, that's very important. Now, hot market product types in our markets all over the country right now are these next ones. Contractor units, which are typically 20 by 30 units with a big overhead door. Covered RV or enclosed RV spaces, and drive-up climate control, where they come right up to the space, just like a regular drive-up unit, but it's actually climate controlled. So think about and get out there and find out for yourself what you have against your competition that makes you unique and special. You know, not all of us can have a fire at our main sign like Modern has, and I think that's so incredible in Little Rock, and that gorgeous office, you know, but we can have things maybe that they don't. So you need to think of what makes you different and special. And trust me, there will be several things. Maybe the most important thing that you have that others don't is you. You with your 20 years experience in the self-storage industry and a customer rating of 5 stars. That's unheard of. Everybody wants to go to the 5-star rated place. So don't get bogged down by any flaws that you have. Look for the things that make you unique and special. And when it comes to your unique selling position, make sure you do what we call selling with 51%. That means it doesn't have to be exclusive for you to also be selling it. And the most common of those are completely fenced, well lighted, access control gates, keypads, so you know who's on the property at all times. You know, those are common amenities in storage facilities everywhere. But don't forget to mention them, because that might be very important to your new customer. So it's called selling with 51%. Now, this one I love. Overcoming objections is a learned skill and part of selling success. So instead of ever asking a customer, do you want to store with me, where they could say yes or no, make it easy on yourself and use the liver or peas method. And some of us in your markets have talked about this before. So if I invite you here to my house to Atlanta and I'm going to cook dinner for you, and I might say, which do you prefer, liver or the strained baby food peas? Well, although most of us would hate both of those things and find them disgusting, as I do, your brain, because we're all human, just wants to try to choose one of those, because we've been given only 2 choices. So when given only 2 choices, our brain wants to choose one of those 2. So use that to your advantage. So when you have somebody on the property, for example, and you're showing them, Miss Harris, do you think this 10 by 15 is going to be able to get everything in there and make you happy? Or would the 10 by 20, so we can leave an aisle down the side and you can get to everything in the unit, work better for you? So either or, 2 choices, not more than 2. When would you like to come out, Shelley, and take a look so we can pick the perfect unit size for you? Would you like to come right after lunch, or would later this afternoon be better? That's an easy way to sell to an appointment. And that's how I learned selling, is sell to an appointment. You know, would you like to come out tomorrow morning, or would the next day be better for you? And then they'll respond. Even if neither of those work, it's just like liver or peas. They're going to say, well, I think liver and peas are disgusting. I'm not eating that. So can I take you to dinner? Or can we order in? People will offer up the 3rd choice. So with everything in your selling process, 2 by 2, whether it's rent increase process or selling or getting the appointment or picking the unit, you can always say either or, you know, either or, this or that, and get to an answer. So it's a wonderful process in dealing with choices and overcoming objections. Here's my next one. If. When I'm talking to a customer and I hear some of their feedback, then I say, well, if I could, would you? If I could get you that first 2 months at the matching price of the competitor, would you move in with me today? If I could get you $50 worth of free boxes and merchandise, would you lease with me today? If I could. If I could get you a ground floor unit for the same price as upstairs, would you lease with me today? You can always come up with great if I could, would you scenarios that help you get to the answer that you seek and provide solutions and responsive solutions for the customers. So overcoming objections also means don't be afraid to ask for the sale. You know, just come out and ask, what's it going to take for you to lease with me today? Or the way I say it is, what's it going to take for you to become my customer today? And then they just tell me, and then I deal with whatever they say. Sometimes it's not very much. Sometimes it's, well, I want a free lock, or I want to use the free move-in truck for 2 loads. Not a problem. Sign me up. So just come out and ask for it. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And as I mentioned, in the 5 magic questions, ask question number 4 about how long do you think you're going to need it, so that you can limit a discount when it comes down to closing the sale. Now, here's one that is a very old process that many salespeople rely on, but we usually forget to do this. Break down the difference to its lowest common denominator. I think I told y'all a couple years ago when I visited with you that I was with a manager at a beautiful store out in Southern California, and her store was all first generation drive-up self-storage. And right across the street was a multi-story, I think it was an extra space, you know, sort of brand new and all the bells and whistles. And she had a customer in the office with her, and he was saying, you know, well, why should I pay you $6 more a month, and I could go right across the street and get it for $6 less. And my response was, we took the $6 and divided that. Let's just do that math so I give you the true answer right this second. We took the $6 and broke it down into the daily amount. Okay, so if we take $6 and divide that by 30 days, that's 20 cents a day. So I looked at him and I looked at that manager, and she was on top of her game, a great manager, and had a very loyal customer base. And she had already solved a problem for him with his deliveries and some other things. And I just looked at him, I said, don't you think that her great service in solving your problems is worth 20 cents a day? He just said, you're absolutely right, sign me up. So don't be afraid that price is the thing. Find out and bring to the table what makes you exceptional, better, and unique. It could be very well you and your great service, your knowledge of the community and the local neighborhood, your support of the local neighborhood. So don't be afraid to break things down to their lowest common denominator. And then when it comes to rent increases, I know a lot of managers have a problem getting rent increases out of customers. And I think it really is a result of probably unfounded fear, or a fear that they'll move out, or all of those things. Customers do not move out because of rent increases, and we study that data very closely and have been watching it very closely for many years. What they will move out for, though, is poor service. So when a customer calls you, let's say a legacy customer, someone who's been with you 10 years or more, and the customer calls into the store and says, I got this rent increase letter today, and I can't believe you're raising my rent. I've been with you for 15 years and blah, blah, blah. Then a lot of times managers go, well, okay, well, we won't raise your rent. Well, all of your expenses are going up. Ask me about your property taxes. They are going up. Lots of expenses, healthcare and property taxes and salaries and everything. We have got to keep moving that needle up. That's our job as professional storage counselors. So when this customer calls and says all these things to us about the rent increase, we always reply with, well, Charlie, you're exactly right. You have been a great customer, but you know what? Let me just check your account really quick while I have you on the phone and look at your history. Well, I go to Charlie's file and I open it up and I say, Charlie Brown, I can't believe that you're talking to me about this. As a matter of fact, you have been with us for 15 years and you have never had a single rent increase. Do you know what I'm renting that unit for today? That unit, you're already getting a 28% discount. You know, so tell you what, Charlie, if I could delay your rent increase for another month, you know, would that make you happy? So don't be afraid to check their history and look at the situation, you know, and stand up for yourself. A lot of times customers just want to get things off their chest because maybe they're having a bad day or things are not going well for them. So talk to them about it. Look at their history. If Charlie, in our example, let's say he has always been late. He is late every single month, and he has been late that way for 15 years. Then I'm going to reply back to him, Charlie, when I looked at your account, it appears that you have paid us, well, just in the last year, 12 late fees. So tell you what, I'm going to put you on our no late fee guarantee, which will actually end up saving you money on your new hire rent. Which credit card would you like to use? I'm going to enroll him in auto debit to save the late fees and get my rent increase. So you've always got to think, what tools do I have in my toolkit? How can I keep this customer happy and yet effectively improve my rental rates? Because it's our job to improve rental rates to cover rising costs. This next one, and I don't know if y'all are getting cut off at the top of the screen like I am, but this one is number 4, the top marketing tips. And even in this time of COVID, I brought you a few ideas. So the top marketing tips, number 1, get out there. Don't just sit in your office and say, boy, I wish we had more customers. You got to make a little goodie bag and drop it off at local retailers and businesses near your store. Walk in the door and say, hi, I'm your neighbor from down the street's self-storage, and I brought you a little gift, and yes, there's some chocolate inside. And of course, there's also your referral cards and maybe your PIN and some other information about your store. It's important when you go out marketing not to just take them brochures and paper items, because if it's all paper, it's going to go right in the trash can right after you leave. So doll it up a little bit, put a little ribbon on it. You know, presentation is everything. We find that a few pieces of chocolate candy go a long way. And I even, when I was trying to train a manager to do cold call marketing visits, they were so afraid of rejection. I created some prizes. So I threw in a bag that we took with us that day a couple of, I think there were some Rice Krispie treats and other things she used for marketing. And we put a couple of business cards in there that had a free month's rent or a free disc lock or $25 worth of free boxes. So everybody, we gave them the little chocolate inside gift. And then we said, and everybody today gets to choose a prize. And so they reached in the grab bag and chose a prize. Well, lo and behold, we ended up getting 2 rentals that day because one of the prizes was no admin fee and the other one was $25 worth of boxes. And the gal at the apartment complex had a new customer moving in who just is going to have storage, and she passed those things along to her, and we got the rental from her. So you never know what's going to work. So remember, you're always talking to the outside audience when you're making marketing visits, what's in it for them, not what you want to say. So when you're in that nail salon, maybe you give them a couple of your emery boards that have your store name and the line, your files are no problem with us, especially if you have climate control storage. Maybe you're giving out pencils that say, pencil me in for a great storage experience, or referral cards, of course, as we've talked about. But try to distribute something with a little tagline or message. And our managers are so clever and cute. They do a great job with those. We do host on-site events, but not now during COVID. Right, and we do start networking groups that meet in our stores that have conference rooms. Of course, not now during COVID. But we are learning to start Zoom networking groups, just like we're on the Zoom call together today, and to do contactless marketing calls to all of those folks out there at the apartments and real estate businesses. We're having a pizza delivered to them, and before the pizza comes, we've left a little gift bag on their front door. And then we call them right after we've left the gift bag and say, we left you a gift bag of referral cards and some candy for your employees. And we're having a pizza delivered to say thank you for the referrals y'all have sent us. Is there anything else that we can help you with? And so you can be very clever and come up with ways to still get your marketing done, even this time when a lot of face-to-face marketing is not happening. But last year, for the 59 stores that we had for the whole period, you can see this list of achievements that we accomplished with our managers. They visited 29,000 local businesses. They had 40,557 people come to our stores for different kinds of events. Those can be anything from a yard sale to a fall festival to a drive-through haunted house or a chamber event. They did contact 62,000 folks during networking and networking awareness visits at chamber meetings and things like that. They made almost 8,000 outbound phone calls, sent out 26,000 letters and postcards, 2.5 million emails, 15,000 Facebook posts, 1,400 new referrals, and our Facebook reach was 804,000. So our managers did all of those things in combination with great selling skills on site that resulted in those 15,000 leases for them at a cost of $51 a lease. So that includes all of our internet activities. So our cost per lease is much lower because we do these marketing activities. And just sit down and put your thinking cap on, and I'm sure you'll come up with some great ideas as well. And as we sort of wrap up today, I don't want to take too much of your time, but number 5 is how to prove to the owner you're not a babysitter. You can, as professional managers, track the financials and metrics yourself. You know, the bills probably come to the store. You know, you want to notice if something is out of whack. You can anticipate what your owner needs, you know, by having solutions ready. Don't just call owners and say, we've got a problem, the roof is leaking. You want to call the owner and say, we got a problem, the roof is leaking, but I've got 3 bids for you, and I would recommend number B because they are the most reliable. That's what an owner wants, is somebody who provides them the solutions. You can notice and report to your owner on trends, especially within the self-storage industry and your competitors. And as we said, recommend solutions. But most important of all, what we do on the front desk is to focus on that customer experience and exceed the expectations. So we keep everything clean, neat, and well organized. And remember, your expertise is worth a great deal to your customers. So if your focus and drive is to provide solutions to your customers, to your owners and supervisors by always being ahead of things, you are going to be the most valuable employee in the world. And of course, not a babysitter. So it's very important that you are actively growing your own skill level. So that's what I brought for you today, Shelley. So let's see, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we hadn't had any questions come in yet, but if you guys want to send them over the Q&A or the chat, that would be great.
Okay.
Sorry. Had a couple kids come in the house trying to tell them to be quiet.
Well, we're supposed to have the obligatory dogs barking during the presentation, but mine is back of the house, so we've avoided that.
Yeah, we usually have that happen a little bit, and today we've had my neighbor's lawn service has been here today with their weed eater on. And the last 2 we've been live when the local tornado siren goes off. Yeah. They do a test every Wednesday at noon, so we've had that too. But
well, at least we're having storms in Atlanta today, and 2 months ago when we were all getting used to doing everything online, right during the broadcast, my power went out. No. Everything in the whole street, so I had to get on my phone and say, I'm still with you guys, I'll be back soon. So you gotta be prepared.
Earlier, Cindy had her computer up and her cell phone, so she had came across a little fuzzy, but she was prepared for anything that was going to happen with her computer.
Well, you know, that's, I think, one of the key things to take away is from gals like Cindy, so smart and knows so well how to make things work, is preparation is everything. Knowledge is power. Because in this day and age, we don't know what's going to happen to us next. So the confidence that you get when you know your product, you know how you compare to your competitors, you're well-trained and working hard on your phone presentation and your walk-in presentation, you know, and you're keeping things tidy and going forward, that gives people a lot of comfort. You know, comfort and trust are probably the 2 most important things we give our customers in this day and age.
I completely agree with that. We've been really excited and thankful to work with the storage group. They are just extremely technologically savvy and have been so responsive and reliable with anything that comes up with any kind of technology issues that we have. Our website that they did for us is extremely responsive. And we just can't say anything but great things about them. So
I love how somebody posted, is it called Ravenden, y'all? And Michelle posted that 470 people live there. If you have storage, which I'm sure they probably do, it's probably a lot more than your $150 in Little Rock. That's a great example, and thanks very much, Michelle.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle, for sending that over. Well, Miss Ann, I know that you had something you had to get to a little bit later today, and we just really appreciate you taking time for us today. It's always a pleasure, and we hope to see you in person very soon.
Yes. I get to see those Redcoats live then, so hopefully next year we'll all be back together again.
Back together. I think that's what we all. The webinars and getting education out is definitely has a new place for our members, and we've seen a lot of responsiveness from them about this, and we know that it's something we're going to have to do going forward too. We're excited to do that, but we want to have both. We want to be here and we want to be there.
That's right. So, well, it's my honor, and I really appreciate the offer to be with you all today, and I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to you very soon. Thank you, Miss Ann.
Thanks so much, y'all. Bye-bye.
All right. As we close out today, I just want to say thanks again to the storage group for all of the hard work they've put into the Arkansas Expo Online. I hope that all of our members have gotten so much education and so much information from these seminars over I think it's about eight or nine that we have pushed out over 3 months. Remember that they are recorded, and the live versions of them are on our website. You can find them under the member downloads. I will send out that link to everyone as soon as they are posted. Hopefully that'll be or probably around Friday or Monday. We want to mention again the deal that we have with the storage group. They are our chosen website provider. Any new client referred from our association with a monthly spend of $125 gets a $100 referral bonus. So that supports us. That gets you a great website and great SEO and internet marketing. So it's a win-win. Thank you, everyone, again for joining us today, and we will be in touch about our next few events, and we will hopefully see you in February or next August. Until then, be on the lookout for our webinars and monthly newsletters. We can be of service to you in any way. Just please don't hesitate to give us a call. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.